Welcome back to the Spiral Up podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Lachelle Weemy, and I am so excited to talk about the real reason why smart people don't trust themselves. You see, I work with women who are literally some of the most intelligent, capable, successful people that I have ever met. And yet many of them don't trust themselves. I mean, literally, these people are running 6- and 7-figure businesses. They have buildings that they own. They have teams that they're managing. They are raising their family. They are solving very, very complex problems. I have clients that have literally taken over an entire region. I have clients that are franchise owners from multiple states. I have clients that manage financial portfolios in the hundreds of millions of dollars. Like, these are very successful people. And they know how to take care of their businesses. They know how to take care of everybody else. But when it comes to their own life, they find themselves second guessing. This is one of the things that I see over and over again, where from the outside, everything looks really, really, really good. Like, they have their shit together, right? Like, they dress well, their social media is on point, their business is booming. But yet when we have one-on-one conversations, they're afraid. They're afraid to make the big decisions. They're afraid to have the hard conversations over and over again. They don't trust themselves to say it right. They don't trust themselves to make the right decision. They don't trust themselves to take the next big risk that needs to be made. And they're second guessing themselves. And the myth that I see that a lot of people are buying into is that self-trust comes from confidence. But I'm going to challenge that idea, because I want to ask you, have you ever met someone who looked confident from the outside, right? Like, everything looks amazing, but yet you found them consistently seeking validation? Now, I thought it was really fascinating when I heard Oprah Winfrey say once that she had interviewed, I mean, as we know, like hundreds of people, some of the most influential people who have ever lived, big movie stars, presidents, people that have been thought leaders and changed the course of the world. And yet she said that after every single one of the interviews, there was a single theme that she noticed every single time. That the camera stopped, that the recording stopped, and they were left with just Oprah and the person. That in one way or another, they asked the same question. Was that good enough? Was that good enough? Presidents of the United States, people who have been known to perform in front of hundreds of thousands of people, are asking, was that good enough? You see, just because somebody looks like they have it all together on the outside doesn't mean that they're not trusting themselves on the inside. And that many of the people that I meet look great. You look at their LinkedIn and you're like, holy crap, like, I'm intimidated by this person. And then they open up to you and they're like, yeah, I really don't know what to say. I really don't know what to do. I don't know how to talk to this person. And they learn to stop trusting themselves. And this is literally what I keep seeing over and over again, is that confidence and self-trust are not the same thing. That confidence is external. Confidence is what everybody else sees. But self-trust is what's going on inside. Now, why do you think we lose trust in ourselves? I have a theory. My theory is that we literally get it trained out of us, especially as women. Those of you guys who are listening that are women, you've likely been told that you're too emotional. Or maybe you men that are listening are like, I've been told that I can't be emotional at all, right? That we're told that we're being selfish if we want to trust what guides us. We're rewarded for pleasing others. We're being praised for being responsible by ignoring our own needs. And I find myself as a mom to really look at my kids and look at them and say, okay, I want to honor that you're sticking up for yourself. I want to honor that you are disagreeing with me. I want to honor that you have an opinion. As long as you're respectful as you express it to me, I want to honor that. I don't want my kids to consistently be caught in the same people-pleasing, external validating loops that I had to overcome, that I have been trained into, that my mom had been trained into, that my grandma had been trained into, and allow for us to be able to honor ourselves, to not feel like we're being selfish, to not be tricked into thinking that we're being too emotional, that we don't get validation just by ignoring what's best for ourselves. Now I think about, I had several things that had happened to me in my time when I was in anesthesia school. I'm going to tell you that these are some of the things that really influenced, I guess, my lack of self-trust in myself that I've had to untangle over years of recognizing them. So when we know better, we do better, right? So I think about when my husband graduated from his master's degree, and I found out when the actual ceremony was. Like, this was a big deal. Like, he's a teacher, he worked really hard for this degree, and I wanted to be there. Well, it just so happened to coincide with a personal development conference that I was given a scholarship to attend. And I was basically having to decide, how was I going to do this? Was I going to give up my opportunity to do this so that I could honor his graduation? Because I knew I would regret it if I didn't go. But I also felt like, by honoring myself, is there a way for it to be a win-win? Like, can I make this all happen? And so I decided to go to the president of the foundation that gave me the scholarship. And I said, here's the deal. I completely understand if you would rather give this to somebody else, but this is a situation I would really love to be able to celebrate my husband's graduation during this time. Would it be possible for me to come in essentially an afternoon later? So it would have been like half a day later. And I don't remember if I was supposed to be there in the morning and I was going to get there at night or something like that. And she looked at me and she said, absolutely. Like, of course you can do that. And thanks for asking. But yes, we chose you. We want you to be here, and you absolutely should be there for his graduation. Well, it turned out that some of my classmates that also wanted to go to this conference that were not chosen were upset that I was still going to go, and how selfish was I to take up one of the spots when I wasn't even going to be able to be there for the entire time. And I really started to question myself, like, was I being selfish? Like, should I have just like given it up without even asking if I should, be or could be able to go and honor, celebrating with my husband? And I really started to question whether or not I am selfish. I am inconsiderate of the needs of other people. And now I look back on this and I'm like, I applied, I was chosen, I honored myself, I was respectful. I went to the person, I gave them the opportunity to decide, and they still just chose me. But yet it created this whole thing in the dynamics of people expecting me to do one thing. And so I think that what happens is that we start to honor ourselves, and all of a sudden we get this backlash, and it starts to play tricks with us. Like, well, am I being selfish? Am I being irresponsible? Am I being inconsiderate? Am I whatever? And then when I say I am, it starts to affect the identity of who I think I am, right? Another example that I have from this space in not honoring myself is, I remember at the height of my career, I was, given an opportunity to teach, and it was amazing. I mean, I got to just tell you that some background in this time of my life. I was working anesthesia half-time, and then I was given the opportunity to teach at the professor level half-time. And this was a dream job for me. This is literally what I had always wanted to do, is be able to practice anesthesia and to teach. Like, that was a dream for me. Now, it was also a new environment for me to be in, because if you don't understand, in the anesthesia world, many of you guys might not realize this, but when I induce anesthesia, when I am delivering anesthesia, I have literally taken over that person's eyes, their ears, and their voice. I am now in charge of their entire body. And that I am keeping them alive, I'm keeping them comfortable, I'm keeping them safe. And that I have to be literally beat by beat aware of their heart, their breathing, their anesthetic level. I have to be aware of what the surgeon's doing, and when a blood loss is happening, anything that the surgeon's doing that's going to impact whether the heart rate goes up or down or the breathing is impacted, and making sure that the patient is still and their blood pressure is good and their heart rate's good and their action's good and all the things. Like, it's a very intense, amazing responsibility that I get. But what happens when you are in that space is that you cannot leave the patient. So if I had to use the restroom or I needed to eat, somebody else has to come in and take over for me. So there is very little independence in as far as like your autonomy of the day and how you can come and go. Like, that just doesn't happen. Right. So at the end of the day, I either get to go home when somebody else comes in and gets me out, or when, we're done with the surgery for the day. And so the fact that I was new on faculty, the fact that I was now given an office, the fact that I didn't have to have somebody come in and give me a bathroom break, that I could actually go to lunch or I could actually use the restroom when I wanted to, was like this new, amazing, amazing layer of of autonomy and freedom, right? And I've shared with you guys know that I am obsessed with personal development. I'm obsessed with becoming the best that I can be. And I was just excited. And I had this underlying just drive for just becoming the best that I can be and proving to myself what I'm capable of. And I've shared with you guys in the past episodes how a lot of that in the past for me was tied up with my worth, and I was trying to prove my worth to myself. But there's also this part of me that is just genuinely loves to just see what I'm capable of in a playful, fun way. Okay. So here I am, newly on faculty, and I have this new freedom. Like I can go to lunch when I want to. Like this is amazing. As long as I'm not teaching a class, like I have this autonomy. I have the time to get my work done. And I remember seeing that there were some Toastmaster groups meeting on campus, and one of them happened to be held on Mondays at noon. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like I could actually go to Toastmasters, learn how to become a better speaker, better professor right here on campus. And I could just go during my lunch hour. Like, how amazing is that? Like, what a beautiful new freedom. And I remember sending an email out to my faculty colleagues saying, hey guys, like, did you know that Toastmasters meets on Mondays at noon? Like, how fun would that be? Let's go. We could all learn, how to become better speakers. And I ended up getting called into the office of the director, and she's an amazing woman. So I know that she's just trying to do her best to have hard conversations, right? But there were some of my faculty colleagues that were upset because if I was able to go to Toastmasters on my lunch break, then that automatically meant that I was not working as hard as everybody else, and that I must not have as big of a workload as everybody else, and that I need to have more added to my plate. And here I was just like excited to learn and grow with my colleagues. And I got to tell you, like, it really did F with my mind. Like, am I lazy? Like, am I not working as hard as everybody else? And the reality is that I was willing to go on my lunch break, which again was not honoring my own needs. Like, we should get a freaking lunch break, right? And I found myself, guys, going down these landmines in my brain about like making sure that everybody knows how busy I am, and making sure that I'm, constantly having enough on my plate. And it was like this weird dynamic in the office where it was this underlining, for lack of a better word, like pissing match, where people proved that I was the hardest worker. I was the one who brought stuff home on Saturdays. I was the most dedicated. I was whatever. And it's like, now I train people in business to be able to have massive impact. When you're doing aligned things, you can actually get more done in less time because it's part of your gifting, is part of what you love to do. And we don't have to constantly strive to just keep ourselves busy for the sake of being busy. Like, it's okay for me to, when I'm done with this podcast recording, to go out and float in my freaking pool with my family, because I don't have to fill every single moment of the day. But there was a moment in time where this incident made me feel like I was being selfish, that I was not as responsible, that I needed to be ignoring my needs more. And that if I wasn't being sacrificial, if I wasn't adding more stuff because I should, that I wasn't as dedicated. And so then I find that a lot of times people in this high achieving space, the people that I help, are caught in these same paradigms where they say they want one thing, but they can't quite give up the meaning that they've attached around it. I say I want more time freedom, but if I have more time freedom, it means that I'm lazy. I say I want more freedom, I want to travel more, but if I do that, it also means that I am not dedicated enough, or that somebody else has to pick up my slack. And all of these little things kind of play in these little landmine in our brain. So then I caught myself at some point when I was looking at my business. And I have an amazing client experience director, Jamie, that is like my right-hand person. And I found myself thinking, okay, well, she's working and I'm in my pool. Like, that's not fair. And the reality is that I work a lot when it works for me, but I'm also really efficient at some things, and I'm paying her to get a job done. So when she does that as her business, like, it was just this weird dichotomy where it's like I wanted the help so I didn't have to do it, but then I felt guilty if I wasn't perceiving myself as working harder as hard as she was. But in the reality of it is that I am the creator. I am the thought leader. I am the visionary. And then I have people in my world now that help me execute, but I don't have to be the one that executes everything. And I had to overcome that situation where I didn't trust myself. And I kept thinking that I had to be the one that sacrifices the most. I have to be the one that is proving the most. I have to be the one that is, doing all the things because I was praised or rewarded for ignoring my needs. I was praised and rewarded for pleasing others. I was told that I was too selfish or too emotional if I did anything other than that. And so what happens is we become experts at reading everybody else and strangers to reading ourselves, strangers to trusting ourselves. And this is where there is a big difference between intuition and trusting our intuition, trusting what we know is true, trusting what we know is right, and allowing fear to come in and impact that. Many women are not disconnected from their intuition. They're simply just drowning it out with all of the freaking noise and allowing fear of expectations of others, fear of not working hard enough, fear of being selfish, fear of being too emotional, fear of not saying it right, that they're not trusting that they already know what they need to do. Many people that I work with already know what they need to do. They know what they need to say. They know the decision that they need to have, but they're not trusting themselves enough. And many people think that they're confused. They're like, Lachelle, I don't know what to do. And I call bullshit because I don't believe that they're confused. I believe that they're just divided. One of my coaches called it double binds, where it's like there's a part of you who knows, but then there's another part of you who's scared. You know what to do. You know what to say. And this is a phrase that I hear a lot is true leaders are slow to hire, quick to fire. And that sounds great from a philosophical perspective. But when you're the person who actually has to fire, it's like, I can't possibly do that. And they can become scared. They know what they need to do. They've given the person several chances. They've been kind and they've been clear and they've been, all the things, but yet it's still not working out. They know what they need to do, but they're allowing their fear to hold them back. I also see a double bind where part of the person wants expansion, right? They want to be able to have the big business. They want to be able to be the thought leader. They want to be able to have the platform. So they want this. They want the expansion, but then there's another part of them that wants the safety. Because with the expansion means vulnerability. With the expansion means being seen and possibly judged and not liked. And instead, the safe version of it is like, okay, well, everybody likes me and I'll be fine. The expansion is that I might have to risk and put out resources and leverage other people's capital and do the things for expansion. But the safety version is like, I want to be debt free and I just want to have my own little thing. The issue isn't a lack of clarity. It's not that you don't know what to do. The identity is in conflict. The woman who knows that she should raise her prices, but is choosing to stay down here because raising her prices means that she's risking being rejected, risking objections, risking people saying no, risking people judging her because, oh my goodness, if she raises her prices, she must be selfish. She must be greedy. Who does she think she is? So we say we want to have the business that earns $1 million, but we're too afraid to raise our prices. Maybe it's the woman who knows it's time to leave her job. Like literally like closed door after closed door after closed door. Like God is like, I cannot make it any more obvious for you. I've had conversations with clients about this where they're like, I am literally fighting for my job. I'm fighting for my job. Like, I don't understand why they won't give me more hours. I won't understand why this is this. And then I literally am able to get them to the place where they're like, do you really want this job? If you could do anything tomorrow, what would you do? And it's not the job. The job comes with safety. You know what you need to do. You're just allowing fear to hold you back from actually executing. What about the woman who knows she should start the business? Been thinking about it for a long time. You get another certification and another certification and then another certification. I really find that we know what we need to do, but we're allowing fear, the safety, the security. What about the woman who knows that she should finally write the book? Like, she wants to know that she's leaving a legacy. She knows that she wants to express her life and her stories and her wisdom and help people. But man, that also means that she's vulnerable to people not liking it. It's vulnerable to her opening up to some stories that maybe she wasn't, ready to share yet. The knowing is already here. The question is whether or not you are willing to become the version of yourself that can hold the decision. So here's the thing. I'm going to give you some hope here because you can actually rebuild self-trust. And here's the thing. Self-trust is not built by thinking. It's actually built by evidence. Every single time, friend, you honor your intuition, you keep a promise to yourself, you act in alignment with who you're becoming, you literally deposit evidence into your self-trust bank. Acting does not require confidence. Confidence follows action, and you showing yourself that you are trustworthy. You showing yourself that you didn't die when things didn't go the way that you thought. Over time, trust grows. It's like putting stuff into your trust bank. I said it, I did it. I proved to myself that I didn't die. Okay. I said it, I did it. I proved to myself that I didn't die. And I know that I'm being a little sarcastic here, but it is honest to God, the truth. I had to get to the point where if I was going to grow my business, my very first business that I started was online. And I was deathly afraid of putting myself out there. I was deathly afraid of being seen, being judged, being rejected. And I've shared this story on the podcast before of how when I started posting about my business online, I was literally afraid that if I went to the grocery store, people that saw me from work would run the other direction because they didn't want me to sell them something. That is not the kind of person I am. Just because I occasionally posted about my business online does not mean that I am going to corner somebody in the grocery store and try to sell something to them. And so I really caught myself having to prove that I said it. I said I was going to post. I did it. I didn't die. People still talk to me, right? And over time, when you are able to take those next little steps, I said it, I did it, I proved I'm okay. I said it, I did it, I proved I'm okay. Over time, that trust grows. Not because you're certain, because the reality is that if you wait till you're certain, if you wait till you're confident, you're going to be stuck forever. So this next level version of you that is being just calling you, pulling you to this next area of capability, she is waiting for you. And I cannot promise to you that it's going to be clear, that it's going to be without fears, that it's going to be without doubts. But successful people, the person that has the identity of somebody that can live and operate from that level is going to do it anyway. You show up over time. You build your own trust, not because you're certain, but because you've proven yourself that you will show up and that you don't die. I don't believe that most women need more clarity. I believe that they need permission to trust what they already know, to allowing your intuition to be your guide and not fear, to recognizing that there might be a disconnect between what you say you want and what is trying to hold you safe, and recognizing it and saying, I choose this. I choose the expansion, even though I might have to deal with this. And I'm going to take the next small step and I'm going to prove to myself that I didn't die. And I used to joke, I'm like, I literally would think, okay, I didn't spontaneously combust. I'm okay. So my challenge to you this week is to ask yourself, what decision have you already made in your heart that you're still asking your mind permission to make? You already know what you want to do. Where are you asking your mind to give you permission to make that decision? Okay. Now, if you are finding that you're listening to this episode and you're like, okay, yeah, I totally get it. And there is a new identity that I definitely want to step into, that I do second guess myself, that I'm not trusting myself. What I want to do is invite you to an identity gap assessment. I have a few spots reserved on my calendar each month where you can come in to my world on Zoom, and I will help you to recognize where you are saying you want to be and who you are showing up under pressure. And once you understand where you are showing up under pressure, we acknowledge where that gap is, and I can teach you how to close that gap. Because the version of you who's ready, the version of you who is trusting herself, the version of you who is making those empowered decisions already exists. She already exists. Let's tune into her. Let's tune into the frequency of her. Let's acknowledge where you are and let's close that gap together. Okay. Now, friends, I believe in you. I believe that it is totally possible for you high achieving women to trust yourself, to take yourself to the next level. And I would love, love, love to support you in that. I'll talk to you all next week.
So much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe and leave a review. Each honest review helps me spiral up so that I can serve you even better. Whether you're feeling a lack of impact, income, or time freedom, or perhaps you're just ready for massive momentum in your business, let's chat. Apply for a breakthrough call so that you can gain clarity, identify what's holding you back, and make a plan to spiral up. head on over to iam-lifebydesign.com/breakthrough or access the link in the show notes. For immediate support, log into our community, the Better Club. We focus on inspiration, tactical guidance, and support. This is a community that wants to be better, do better, and have better in life and in business, and we're going to help you do the same. Let's spiral up, friends.